So we're going to do a quick bag check for those that are following Jaquan Businessman Bailey's legacy, right? His trajectory, right? His documentary, baby. When I reached that $1,000,000, I want for people to go back and watch these old videos and he said he was going to do it. He did it much faster than he said he would. And he never stopped, beloved. The highest inspirational thing you can do, in my opinion, is inspire, right? So with that being said, let's get busy. So check it. We are going to do the assets over liabilities and check the net worth, right? So let's get to it. So for starters, in my Charles Schwab bag, I have about $41,000, right? Last time that I checked in my Nipsey Hussle voice, right? $41,000. And okay, on the liability side of things, I have about, I know my Flex, right? This is a credit card. My Flex, I owe about 6K, right? 6K being 6,000. Then you have the unlimited. I owe about a stack. Keep that light. Then I have my business, right, which is my ink. I owe about 1,500. Okay. And then I have one other card. What other card? The BOA. My BOA, I currently owe about 2K, right? So what I like to do, young fellas, young kings, I like to add my wife's liabilities onto mine as well to get a better picture of the financial situation at the time. So I'm going to add my wife's credit card as well, right? And she owes roughly about 6,000, right? So now we total up the liabilities, right? 6 plus 2, that's 8,000, 9,000, 9,500, 10,500, 16.5. Me personally, I always like to round. It's about 17,000. I always like to round up because remember, the card is being swiped probably as we speak. So thus you always round up, always overestimate your liabilities and always underestimate your assets so that you could anticipate much more than you expected, right? So with that being said, we owe 17,000 on this side, we owe 41,000 on this side. So what I didn't tell you all is I have 2 loans as well, right? I have one loan for about 15,000 last time that I checked, and another loan about 11,000 last time that I checked. So these two equal what? Total of 26,000, right? So 26,000 plus 17,000 is what? Let's do the math. 36,000, well, 13, 3, 43, no. Oh, damn, 43 better not be 30. Yo, that damn much, Jay? 30. Yeah, yo, 43,000. God damn. Woo! Okay. So, damn. Okay. So, and this is good to do because it's been a minute, right? So, as you can see, in total, I owe 43,000 here, right? 26,000 plus 17,000 is what? 43,000. Okay, now on the asset side of things, I have what? 41,000. So essentially what this tells me is that we are in the negative, right? My net worth is minus what? 2,000. How'd you get that? Minus 2,000. That's my net worth. And that's not good. How did I derive at that number? Simply by adding my total liabilities. Put it here. Total liabilities. Right? And this is total assets. Now, you go the 43, always put the high number on top, obviously, which is the 43,000 minus what? The 41,000 that I have on my Charles Schwab bag. Right? But the thing is, You always want the assets in front, not the liabilities. So this is how we derived at a negative $2,000. See what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that because, listen, it happens. The liabilities are going up as well as the bag. So sometimes now granted, I would much rather for this particular number to be plus 2,000, but at the same time, this bag is only increasing. You see what I'm saying? And what a lot of you don't know, I'll even be transparent and share this with you. This particular flex, my total, I'll put it in green even. My total credit limit for my flex is 27,000. See what I'm saying? I'm only utilizing 6,000 out of 27,000 for the flex. Whereas for the unlimited, my total credit limit is about 12,000. Right? So I'm only utilizing 1,000 out of 12,000. For the ink, right? The business ink. That particular card is about 8,000. The total credit limit, that is. Right? And then for they just gave me a decrease actually because I don't really use it. That's another thing. You get a decrease if you don't use the cards. But for my BOA, my total credit limit is about 5,100. Right? My wife, she's pushing the max. Why is that? Because her total credit limit is 7,500. Okay, so with that being said, I'm utilizing 6,000 out of 27,000, right? That's great. You know, what would be even better if I was only utilizing 2,700. Why is that? Because 2,700 out of 27,000, that's 10%. Ideally, you want to keep your total credit balance at 10% of the total credit limit. That's wonderful. That's game. Write that down. Now, granted, if you hit 30%, that's still good, and creditors still take that into consideration, and they say this is a responsible person, right? But again, 10% is that sweet spot. So here, that's about 20%, about 22%, right? So thus, we're not even utilizing the whole 30%. So that's still wonderful, right? And then when my wife gets paid next week, when I get paid, etc., we'll add some more to the flex, right? So the unlimited, that's less than 1,200, right? So we're less than 10% on the unlimited. Grade A, get a thumbs up for that. The BOA, 10% of 8,000 is what? 800. So we're probably utilizing about 12% on that. Get a thumbs up because you're right there. See what I'm saying? 2,000 out of 5,100. Ideally, you want to be using about $500. That would be 10% of the 5,100. $2,000. It's not that bad because I really don't use the card. See what I'm saying? And that's about 5, 10, 15 would be 30%. That's about 35% ish. So that's not bad as well because again, we don't use that particular card. My wife, she's pushing the max, but the thing is, we're going to pay this card off by the end of the year. So that's another thing creditors want to see. Here's a thing that a lot of people don't say. Sometimes run the card up, right, with things that you need, and thus, or thereafter rather, take some time to pay the card back and drop the balance. You see what I'm saying? Once you run the card up and then drop it back down, creditors like that, they usually throw you more bread. That's essentially what it's about. But again, quick recap. Total liabilities, 43,000, right? Total, the net worth is 2,000, minus 2,000. We need to fix this. And the total assets is 41,000. Now, bear in mind, my main objective is to what? Slow down on the spending, right? Slow down on this, bring these balances down, and so that I could free up some more cash flow and potentially add to the bag, right? Potentially add to the 41,000, right? You want that 41,000 to go to 50,000 or 51,000. You see what I'm saying? Also, I'm focusing on these particular bags credit cards, because they pay the highest interest rates, right? Opposed to my loans, they pay a much smaller interest rate. And also when it comes to my loans, I'm not using them, right? So every single month is dropping. Whereas with my credit cards, I use them. So sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. I was long-winded. Heavy on investments. Stay tuned.